Spending types. I don't know if you guys know this, but there's 5 different spending types. I'm gonna kind of breeze through this just a little quickly. The first spending type is abundant. So when you're an abundant spender, you don't feel bad about spending. You might actually feel really good about spending. You're happy. You're like, I feel good about the thing I'm about to buy. You're like, hey, I'm positive overall. And if you're abundant, great, but it's not always the best spending type to be. As much as it is good emotionally, it might not be good for your wallet. And I'll tell you, well, I remember sometimes we go into these different zones and you may be all 5 of these spending types at different times. There's this one Jamaican tune, just got paid and I got a little money to burn. This is the abundant spending type. You got money to burn? What do you mean? You just slaved away to make it and now you want to burn it? That's insane, right? Okay, the next spending type is neutral spending. This is probably one of the better spending types to be in. You want to be neutral. You don't want to be emotional about your money. You can feel good about it, but being neutral is great. So you're neutral about spending, you're neutral about paying for things, you're neutral, you're good. You're not happy, you're not sad, it's just life, chugging away. The next spending type is scarcity spending. I know a lot of us, especially in the market that we're in and the way that everything is going, may be feeling that scarcity spending. You may be resistant. You may feel bad about the price. You may feel bad about the item you're paying for. This is scarcity spending, and there's a lot of negatively charged emotions around that spending type. You don't want to be negative, thinking about your money negatively, because it's going to make your money run away from you. The next spending type we have is avoidance. This one is very interesting, and I find that a lot of young folks, a lot more younger folks, are avoiding spending. When you're in this spending type, it's like you're scarce, but then you're using cards or your phone to tap and pay for everything. You're just tapping away your money in a way that you don't have to think about it. You're avoiding the thought because the scarcity is already too strong. You're like, oh, man, I feel so uncomfortable that now I don't want to think about it, I want to avoid it. And the next spending type is emotional spending. Everything is technically emotional spending, but this one is specifically when you're feeling bad, you're feeling angry, or you're feeling powerless, you go on a shopping spree. They call it retail therapy for a reason, right? You get serotonin, dopamine, oxytocin when you go shopping. It may be because you feel like you're in control of something. That dress looked cute or those shoes looked fly, and all of a sudden you want to go and spend that money to feel good again. So many people are doing. So all of this is a part of our first step, and you're just reviewing to explore your relationship with money. So we looked at your parents and your family. We looked at yourself. We're looking at your relationship, what spending types you're in, and you're always in one of the spending types. You're always in one of them. And now these are some questions to ask yourself. Where do your money values come from? Does money make me feel confident or insecure? Do I have a history of making good financial decisions? And if not, then why? Am I hesitant to take action when there are issues regarding money? I know that's one that I had to really get out of, because when I was younger, I'd be like, I know this bill's coming up, but don't really want to do the thing. Or I get a parking ticket. Parking tickets are the worst. I don't want to pay this. I don't want to think about it. Am I impulsive with money, or do I have the discipline to say no? For all the parents out here, do my children have good values with money, especially if they'll inherit it from me? It's a great question to ask yourself, right? Are you setting up the future generation to be good with money? And how do I talk about money? How do you talk about it? I've been watching a lot of Reverend Ike, and it's really funny because he says money is like a jealous lover, or money is like a woman that wants to be wooed and cared about and all this great thing. And it's helped shift my money perspective a lot. Where now it's like, money is attracted to me. I can't do anything about it. I couldn't push it away if I wanted to. It always keeps running back to me, and I'm happy. So money comes easily and frequently to me. That's something that I'm always saying, and you may hear me say if we're ever talking about cash. So knowing your past and present is the key to starting your roadmap. Now that you know where you came from, you know where you're standing, now we can start to go on our journey and actually build the next step of our roadmap. And the next step, as you guys may remember, is to get organized. This can be so tough. And I talk a lot about organizing when it comes to money. Originally, I was gonna go deep into budgeting, but we're gonna be going, I have a 3-hour, which I'm trying to break up and make it more digestible, just on budgeting. And we've already talked about it so many times. So if you guys want to talk about budgeting, you guys can check out the YouTube channel. I'll send out some links if you want to know more about budgeting. But today, the way we're gonna talk about organizing is categorizing your income and categorizing your expenses. Pretty straightforward. Categorize how money is coming to you. Here are some of the ways that money will come to you. You have salary, we have freelance work, we have investments. Keep track and record the total amount of money that's actually coming in. This is a starting point of getting organized with your money. I know this is something I gotta practice because money comes to me easily and frequently from multiple sources on a continuous basis that I get to keep, use, and spend to the benefit of all. Sometimes I lose track of where it's coming from, but you want to start to keep track of where your money is coming from. Once you've done that, you want to pay yourself first. This is one of the principles in The Richest Man in Babylon. Pay yourself first. And you guys will hear me say this over and over. And I will tell you, if you don't remember anything else that I say, or you don't care about anything else that I say, please pay yourself first. What does it mean to pay yourself first? Well, treat yourself as if you're a bill. You have a phone, you're gonna go pay the phone bill, great. And you wanted some, I don't know, I always talk about chocolate. You wanna buy chocolates, you're gonna go pay that company. And you wanna go drive somewhere, you're gonna pay that company. And you have to pay rent, you're gonna go pay that, or you're gonna pay your mortgage, you're gonna pay that. And then after all of that, you're like, well, I have $5 left. I think I'll save this for myself. Look, pay yourself first and aim to do 10% or more. From this point on, the only person that's in charge of you is future you. The reason why you're paying yourself first is to pay future you so they can live a better life than present you is living. If you do not put anything away, you will be a part of the 54% or the 36% that is dependent or having to work. You will never have your money work harder than you do. It's just a fact. You didn't save anything. You didn't put anything else to work. So when you pay yourself first, I had someone ask me, what does it mean? What do you mean pay myself first? I should put in a savings account? No, you should take that money and put it to work. In The Richest Man in Babylon, they say that your money its job is to multiply. It's like your slave, because that's the language they used before, right? That's supposed to go out there and work, and 1 should turn to 2, and 2 should turn to 4, and 4 should turn to 8, and etc., etc. This is what paying yourself first means, and the goal of paying yourself first. All right, let's continue talking about categorizing your expenses. Your first expense is paying yourself first. Now with the other expenses are your fixed expense and your variable expenses. You guys may see I got a nice big boulder and I got a river over here. The fixed expenses are things like rent, utility, insurance, and sometimes subscriptions. Some subscriptions. Netflix is not supposed to be a fixed expense. It doesn't have to be. It should be in the variable where you could cut it off if you don't need it. You can live without it. But maybe you have a water heater subscription, right? Maybe you have your groceries on a subscription basis. But your fixed expenses are your big boulders that don't move. So start to go in and look at what all your fixed expenses are. So many of us just have bills coming in and going out. We don't even question the bills and we just pay the thing, not looking for any errors. Oh, this is supposed to be this amount. Why is it this amount? Look at what your fixed expenses are and be aware of them. There's so many times you'll make mistakes and you may be paying more than you're supposed to, right? And I was switching around my insurance the other day and they made a mistake as I'm getting new insurance for my car. And I'm like, hey, no, fix this. Be aware of have your mind on your money sometimes. Then you have your variable expenses. These fluctuate on a month-to-month basis. This could be groceries, entertainment, dining out. These are more of the luxuries of life, right? That are fluctuating and variable. But we could also have things like, car repair, variable expense. Hopefully you're not repairing your car every single month. Get a new car, please. But hopefully you're not fixing that every month as a fixed expense. These are variables. Next, we look at income allocation. This is one of my favorite things. In fact, I first started doing my income allocation when I first started making money, but after I talked to Paul. So let's say I was 15 or 16 years old. And I had a red notebook that I would write down these following percentages. So the first percentage, can you guys guess what the first percentage was? I'll tell you. Yes, exactly, Deb. Pay yourself first. That was my first percentage. Amazing. See, we got, yes, Travis, 10%. Pay yourself first. And what I say here is, it may be difficult to start with 10% right away. I want to be realistic. I want to give you something tangible so you don't feel defeated. So if 10% is a lot, start with 1%. And then realize it feels silly. And then maybe you do 5%. And then maybe you're like, 7%. You can work your way up to 10%. You don't have to just do it all in one moment. You could work your way up to paying yourself first 1%, 2%, work your way. The goal is to get to 20% or more. And the way we do that is by increasing our income so that 20% doesn't really hurt our lifestyle, right? But incrementally work your way up. The next place is your emergency fund, 10 to 20% of your income. And next week, we're actually going to be talking about how your emergency fund will make you rich. And the 11 you guys may not know this, there's 11 different stages of wealth. In our past talks, we talked about the first 3 stages of wealth. And in next week, we're going to actually dive into all 11 stages and how to make that a reality. So your emergency fund is your second place. And at minimum, guys, 3 months emergency fund, 3 to 6 months. And I tell folks, you want to have about 30%. Did I say 30%? Yeah, 30% more available per month for your emergency fund. So if my math is correct, if your expenses, I'm trying to remember the thing that I had written out. If your bills are like about $4,500 per month, something like that, then you should have $5,600 per month in your emergency fund. Because the emergency is gonna hit, you don't know what it's gonna be, and you may need more money than just to survive, right? You wanna thrive during emergencies, not just survive. But 10 to 20%, start putting that there. Then we got our fun money. I like to call this, in my bank, I call it my living wealthy account. Now this is money that I can be stupid with. This is the money I can go to Vegas with, baby. This is where I can go party with friends or do whatever I want. My living wealthy account, my fun money. I can buy this unicorn water, whatever thing that I know they cost like $200 to $400. Wonderful. Fun money, have fun, live your best life. Don't feel guilty spending this money. Abundance, great. 5 to 10%, because you only have this one life and you should enjoy your life. And then 50 to 70% is what you should be living on. If you can live on 50% of your income, congratulations, you're blessed. If you can live on less than that, even better. But 50 to 70% is what you should be looking at, and play with these numbers to do something that makes sense for you. I am not your God. So what I say is not law. These are just suggestions to help you start to build out your financial future. All right. So now that we've started doing our asset allocation or our income allocation, you should adjust your spending to stay on budget. So I like to say your dreams are possible when you write them down, and I'm gonna keep on saying this, but you wanna start to eliminate your cash drainers, your bad habits, smoking, drinking, eating too much fast food. Oh man, the fast food is one that really gets you, because it's like, what, you go out for lunch, you're spending $20, $25 for a little nothingness, and then you're hungry later. That's like, I don't know how much groceries you can get and just meal prep. It takes a little bit more time, but you're giving away your time, but that's a whole other rabbit hole I can go down into. Cash advances. I tell all my students, guys, avoid this like the plague. It's a trap. There's a video game I get them to play called Shady Sam, which teaches them about these money market and loan places and all that greatness. And it's like they see how these people actually try to get them to take longer term loans and give them whatever money because they know that they're gonna make money hand over fist afterwards, right? Impulse buys, right? Maybe wait 24 hours when you see the thing you want. Wait 24 hours, see if you still want it. If you still want it, then check out your living wealthy account. See if you can buy it. Live your best life. Single-use purchase items, avoid them if you can. And then we don't want to just think about eliminating drainers. We don't want to just think about not spending money. We want to think about making more money. That should be your goal. Make more money, right? Type in the chat, I want to make more money. Okay? Negotiate a raise if you're working somewhere. Pick up side hustles if you need to, right? Look for ways that you can make more money without necessarily taking too much more of your time. Right? I know everyone here has some sort of skill, some sort of area of expertise that you could probably share with someone, tell someone about, you could charge for the wisdom that's in your head. So that's that for adjusting. Now, as we are getting organized, you also want to go through your essentials, your income statements, your pay stubs, freelance invoices, business earnings, all right? You want to keep track of these. Sometimes you're, especially when you're working places, sometimes they really mess up your pay. And if you're not on top of it, then they just get to slide under the radar and paying you less. That's not cool, right? Expenses like receipts, your bills, your grocery receipts, your training expenses. You want to keep track of these things. I had the training expenses in there specifically because I did do a workshop at Centennial for fitness instructors. And I'm telling them, guys, you can pretty much write off your life as a fitness instructor. You film a little YouTube video or Instagram, TikTok, whatever video while you're making your breakfast saying, guys, this is how you eat this. That meal and the stuff that you bought to make that meal is now a business write-off. There's so many cool ways you could write off everything in your life. But I'm not an accountant. I'm not your tax person. If you want to go more in depth, send me a personal message. I'll give you guys some game there. But keep track of your expenses, your bank statements, your monthly statements for checking and savings. Most banks will only keep your information for 2 years. After 2 years, they kind of shred it, get rid of it. Keep a file for yourself. Tax documents, your past tax returns. I think you need to keep it for at least 7 years or something crazy like that, right? And the receipts to go along with those. Investment records, like the statements for your RSPs, TFSAs, and all other investments. You want to keep all of these documents ideally in one place. Keep it safe. If it's digital, make sure you have it safe in a digital place. If it's physical, make sure you have the right format, the right folders, maybe something that's locked so no one else can get into it. So in the future, if you choose to sit with someone to get help with your finances, you're not running all over the place confused and you don't know what's up from down. You could actually just take your folder, take the thing and sit with them and go through things pretty quickly. That's actually part of the reason why I created the Money Mastery Dash, to help you master your cash in 5 days or less, but that's a whole different conversation. But it's mainly to help you get organized. That's the biggest thing about the Money Mastery Dash. And organizing your documents. I always jump ahead of myself. So digital versus physical. Decide where you're gonna put things and how you're gonna put it, right? Label everything clearly. Clear labels make it easy for you to access later on. Regularly update. I tell folks, look, when you get paid, maybe you should review your stuff. And if that's too much, at least once a month, just give it a quick look over. And once you've done it the first time, the next times is easier. Like, getting all of this started first is the hardest. After you've gotten all of this started and you've got some momentum, it becomes vastly easier, so much easier, because you're not building the thing anymore. You're just maintaining and managing the thing. So with that being said, that brings us to the end of our organize, and our next section is to align. We want to align our financial life with where we want to go. And just like this person is setting up their dominoes, you've done the groundwork. Everything we've done so far is dominoes. Now we just got to get it perfectly lined up so we can knock it over and see our massive action plan fall into place. So why should you align your financial goals with your current lifestyle? Your goals should reflect your circumstances, including your income, your expenses, and your lifestyle choices. And I'll add on who you are as a person, like you personally. That's what your goals should reflect. They say, show me where you spend your money and I'll tell you who you are, right? I can 100% tell you who you are. If you show me your books, I'll be like, I see you. Goals that are in harmony with your present situation are more achievable and sustainable. It'll be that much easier to actually achieve your goals when it's like, I'm just vibing. I'm just doing the things that make sense for me, right? And when you align with your lifestyle, it makes sure you're setting yourself up for success and not frustration. I told my folks, I want you guys to dream big. I want you to think massive, but don't be like, I'm gonna get a Ferrari next week and you're not even making minimum wage. That's stupid. You're just gonna set yourself up for disappointment. But what I say, actually, this is a part of vision casting. I jump all over the place a little bit. So here, As an example, if your current lifestyle includes high spending on dining out or travel, it might be unrealistic to set a savings goal of 50% of your income for retirement right away. We talked about our income allocation. And if you want to set a goal for your wealth capture account or your investing account or whatever, it might not make sense to say, I'm going to do 50% tomorrow, but you're going on dates every single weekend, spending $200-$300 on a date. Instead, start with something more achievable, like saving your emergency fund or paying off high interest debt. In fact, you should not, if you have debt, you should probably start by clearing off the debt and then save, but at least have your 3-month emergency fund and then start getting rid of the debt so you have a little bit of cushion if things hit the fan so you don't end up going back in debt. So my favorite quote, the best way to predict the future is to create it. And the way we create it is we write it down. Now I have something that we did go over before and we will go over again. It's called vision casting. What do you want? What do you actually want? What do you want out of life? It's your story. You're the character. You get to write it. You get to create it. Whatever it is, it's whatever you want. So what do you want? And I want you to start by thinking far into the future. I want you to think very, very far into the future. I want you to think long term. I know here I say 3 to 5 years, but when we do our vision casting, we cast it out 15 years into the future and we reel that bad boy back. So let's stick with the theme of 3 to 5 years. Consider your bigger financial aspirations. Do you want to buy a house? Do you want to pay off student loans? Do you want to secure your retirement savings? Right? These are things that you can, in the next 3 to 5 years, you can make tangible steps and meaningful progress towards making those goals a reality. So 3 to 5 years from now, this is something for you guys to do right now. What do you want financially? Think of 1 or 2 things for now. 3 to 5 years from this exact moment, what do you want financially? And write them down. I'll give you guys a second. You could put it in the notes on your phone or write it down, whatever. What do you want? What do you want 3 to 5 years from now? And then once you know your 3 to 5 years, we work backwards. I said we start with our vision casting far into the future and we reel it back in, right? So what is your midterm goals? What do you want to achieve in the next few years? 1 to 3. This could be building an emergency fund. Oh, wow, there's some sort of theme going on here. Could be paying off debt. Could be making a significant purchase like a car or going on a little vacation. You should relax. You should go on vacation. You deserve it. Tomorrow's promised to no one. That's what my dad likes to say, right? Tiptoe financial. Tomorrow's promised to no one. You should do these things in the next 1 to 3 years. Write down 1 or 2 things, or maybe 3, that are your midterm financial goals. I want you to really feel it viscerally, these goals that you have, so you can align yourself with the goals. And then short term, identify 1 short-term goal. What do you want to have done in the next 12 weeks? So by the end of April, what's 1 thing, just 1? I don't want you to overwhelm yourself and say 50 things. Just 1 thing financially that you want to have done by April 30th, or technically April 13th or whatever it is. Think about what you want to achieve 12 weeks from this moment. It could be building a budget, completing the vision casting challenge. And I say this because like the casting challenge will make your life wonderful. I promise you. Okay. It'll make everything so easy. You're writing the story of your life. Or just completing your financial blueprint. Do you want to at least have the next steps for you to walk on and the next things laid out for you in the next 12 weeks? That will make your life so much easier. So we went massive and now we're going micro. Okay, macro and micro. Next 12 weeks. What's 1 thing you want to achieve in the next 12 weeks? Now, your goals with your current income and lifestyles. You want to be realistic. I mentioned this already. If you know you're not making enough money right now, don't say I want a Lambo next week. Maybe say you want to increase your income by X number or Y number. Set priorities. What is the most important thing for you? So if you have many, many goals you want to hit and reach, write them all down because they're all possible, but choose 1 or 2 that you can do and build on step by step. Okay? If you're balancing multiple goals, you can't, if you have a lot of debt, you want to go on vacation, one's probably more important than the other, so you're not in more debt. Adjust as needed. Life is fluctuating. Our incomes go up, our incomes go down. Our investments go up, our investments go down. Children are born and people die. You need to adjust your goals and align yourself with your goals as life changes with you, right? This is one of the reasons why I don't know how many of you guys here actually have a financial advisor and or planner, but they say you should sit with them 2 to 4 times per year. Most people barely see their finance person once a year. You should be sitting with them every quarter because your life is that dynamic. Things change. You got to adjust your goals. It's like if you're on a ship and you just said, we're going to go straight and we're going to make it to our destination. It's like, no, you have to change the sail and steer the ship and do all the things. You got to adjust. Let's go to our next steps. Define. Wow, we're almost at the end of our road and I'm excited for our massive action plan. But let's define. We built out the muscle. Now we got to shed the fat to show off our abs. You know what I'm saying? So think of your perfect day and write it down. Be as specific as possible and think big. Who do you want to be? What do you want to do? What do you want to have? I know I'm talking about finances, but now I'm getting all fitness guy, personal wellness thing over here, talking about be, do, and have. But our finances are one of the things that help us build every other pillar of our life, right? It helps support every other pillar of our life. And if you don't have a strong why, you will not be able to, well, they say those who have a strong why can overcome any how. So I want you to have a strong why. Your why is your wind in your sails. Your why is a thing that makes, instead of scaling a mountain, it feels like you're going over a molehill. So I want you to think about these things because as you're on your financial journey, it makes everything else so much easier. Why? And I want you to start to think of defining your future. What kind of things do you do for recreation? Are you in the stadium watching people play? Or are you on the field? How do you volunteer? How do you give back to community? Because when we give back to community, when we're generous, there's this wonderful thing that happens where money wants to come to you and spend more time with you. How are you giving back to your community? How do you take care of yourself? How are you resting? How are you finding repose and ways to rejuvenate yourself? We're not robots, and you should plan to be able to enjoy your life and take care of yourself. What kind of car do you drive? What kind of car do you want to drive? Right? What kind of house do you want to live in? And I say live in because they used to say what kind of house do you want to buy, but hey, maybe buying is not something you're interested in. Maybe you want to live all around the world and be a globetrotter, right? What kind of house do you want to live in, right? How are you experiencing this beautiful planet, this beautiful world that we live in? Define your future. Really think about the future you want to live. And another one ones I didn't say is, what kind of foods do you enjoy? When will you retire? What kind of clothes do you want to wear? Start to define your future. My friend Seth, I'm a part of a community called The Next Realm. And one of the things he did so well, like I've always done this, writing down exactly step by step what you want out of your life, how much it's going to cost. But the way he broke it down was so meticulous, where he's like, I want to know the dollar amount. I want to know your perfect life, the exact dollar amount. Be specific, define your future. That's the only way you can hit the mark. You need to know what the mark is. So I'll define your future. And how much does it cost? How much does that dream life cost? And plan for errors, so make it bigger, because there's going to be children that may be born. There may be family members that may get sick. There's all sort of unknowns that happen. So yes, as you're thinking of your dream life, all of these things are important. All these things for you are important. And then think just a little bit bigger. And then realize it's not big enough and think even bigger. You know? So that brings us to the end of our road. And now let's map it out. Massive action plan. And I got an elephant here for you. I know, kind of random, right? Why do I have an elephant when it comes to the massive action plan? And everyone that's on Instagram, I know you guys are confused. Make sure you tap into the actual Zoom next time. You'll see all these slides. This whole time, everyone's been getting to see wonderful slides, except for everyone on Instagram. I'm sorry to my Instagram people. You just see me not looking at you. So thanks for tapping in anyways, everyone. Massive action plan. Why do we have this elephant? Well, this elephant is your massive action plan. It's your map. This is map the elephant. And oh wait, there's one more thing, and I gotta say thank you to Travis for sharing this in the chat. When you're defining your future, it's also good to consider who is in your future and the relationships that you want to have. That's also very important to consider. All right. Okay, let's get back to map the elephant. So this is map the elephant. And the question that I have for you is, how would you approach eating this elephant? You guys may have heard this before. Does anyone know the answer on how you would eat an elephant if I told you to eat this entire elephant? You could drop it in the chat or shout it out loud. It's fine by me. But if you had to eat an elephant, what would you do? Yes, you would eat your elephant one piece at a time. That is how you approach your massive action plan. We want to make something that's big. We want to make something that's audacious. We want to make something that encompasses everything we've talked about so we can experience a tremendous and profound change in our lives. That's why it's a massive action plan. But if you try to go at it all at once, you will feel overwhelmed. This is why the roadmap is broken down into small, one step at a time. Okay? This is why the Money Mastery Dash, which is essentially the roadmap we walked through, but with some more tools, is one step at a time. I'm throwing a lot of information at you guys today. There's going to be a replay and everything, so don't feel like you have to do it all at once. Don't get lost in the sauce. So, with that being said, when we look at our massive action plan, you might want to start with looking at the large goals, like paying off significant debt or saving for retirement. Yes, they will feel overwhelming, but if we start to map it out piece by piece, you'll see how easy it is. Actually, I have something that's, it's coming up. Jumping in. I'm always jumping ahead of myself. I get too excited when I'm doing this. So let's say you want to save $10,000 for your emergency fund in 12 months. That's a pretty good emergency fund. For some of us, it might be like, 2 months worth of emergency fund. If it's a good start. Set up your monthly savings targets. $833.33 per month. You might have to look at where you got to shave things. You might have to look at where you got to earn more, but it's a good starting point. Step 2, identify, this is what I was saying. Look at where you can cut back on your non-essential spending, and then automate your savings. Set up an automatic transfer to your savings account each month. We had the big goal and you made it bite-sized. And you can do this in every aspect of your life. Now, this is one of my favorite images in the world. This is why a lot of the MITM branding is, I love this picture so much. And I don't know can you guys see this on top of the mountain? Can you guys see that? No? Yeah, a little bit? Okay, wait. How about now? Can you see it?
Give them that creme de la creme whenever I spit that hot shit. Ain't no lose or draw when it's the only option. Till I'm balling like Stockton, I'm locked in. Researching the best stock tips, fuck gossip unless it makes a